I'm David Williams, and in this walkthrough I'm going to show you how in real time I acclimatise myself to a dramatic change of track temperature in iRacing. Prior to this recording, I've already put together one of our weekly data packs on Virtual Racing School for the Audi R8 GT3 at Silverstone circuit in default afternoon weather to match the official VRS GT Sprint series. So I'm back at Silverstone with the Audi, and the only thing that I've changed from the original data pack is I've changed the sky to overcast. So previously it was partly cloudy, now it's overcast. The track temperature as a result has dropped by around 15 degrees centigrade, and that will really result in just all round more grip. You can see that I'm using exactly the same original data pack setup, no changes whatsoever. I don't normally feel the need to make any major changes regardless of the track temperature. So we'll go out onto track, and you can see that the delta is showing my original all-time optimum lap, and I'm fully expecting that we'll be able to comfortably beat that even in a matter of 1 or 2 laps. So we'll head out onto track, and it's only really once I reach the first corner. Oh, I can feel the difference now. I feel, ooh, yep, heavier force feedback. The car is more direct, and even just through here I can immediately carry a lot more speed. We haven't gone green just yet. We're not really gaining much time on the straights, maybe a tiny bit, nothing really significant. Oh, that was a little bit later on the brakes, but look at that, through the middle of the corner there we were able to get on the power much earlier and much later on the brakes into here, and they're just, there we go, I committed to full throttle, the car gripped up, no dramas, and we've fired out there. We're nearly half a second up already. Still not sure. There we go. As soon as I turn in, I feel that there's so much more grip, so I can probably brake quite a lot later there. Yep, can feed in the power nicely. Still nowhere near really the limit of grip. Again, lots of confidence. See, I picked up the throttle really early there, and there's just so much grip that I've got the confidence to do that. It's nice that we can immediately compare to the delta. Right, cops then. Full throttle and the car sticks. Oh, just about. Now that's the corner where we did run off slightly in the previous weather. Again, just so much more mid-corner grip. Third gear. Let's not get too carried away. And again, we've just carried so much more speed through that whole section. Our optimal is already nearly 1.5 seconds up. Now the car just about moved around there. Normally the car does move around on the brakes there, but that was quite a lot later on the brakes than in the afternoon session, with the partly cloudy sky, I should say. And again there, I can just commit on the throttle, and even though that was only a little bit better, I still feel there's more time there. Let's brake really late here. Car stops and turns in. So we just got so much more confidence. The car does what I want it to do and more, and we gradually get a feel for it. Of course, in a race session you don't have much time. You just literally got the warm-up and qualifying to get used to the new conditions. So you need to be on it as soon as you can. See if we can really nail the next lap. So now we're just getting to the limit there. That was on the edge. We were just running a little bit wide there on the exit of the corner. It was a bit too early on throttle. Ooh, a bit too much braking. See how the car rotated? I had to immediately come off the brakes. So the car will still get loose if you provoke it. Still need to be smooth through these high-speed corners. You can just carry more speed. See, we turned in too late there into the right-hander, the final right-hander, and we were a little bit off the apex, so there's still a bit of time there to be found. But of course we are still up on our previous optimal. A little bit too early on the brakes though. I just had to come off the brakes and try and make it up through the middle of the corner, which we successfully did so, but overall, see, that was quite late. But again, the car's just sticking, and we can commit straight to full throttle through here, through the exit, no dramas. I reckon we can probably do a 43. Again, just a little bit early on the brakes. You saw the delta went just a slight shade of red, which was showing me that I was just a fraction early. Quite a lot of curve there. Just trying to carry speed, really. Full commitment on the throttle. Not quite as committed on the previous lap because we obviously ran wide on the previous lap, but we made it up on the corners prior, and there we are, 43.9. Okay, so let's perform some data analysis within the VRS website. Now you can see both sessions, the most recent one of course with the overcast conditions, much cooler track temperature, and below that is the previous original data pack session for this week. And we'll click on the session details. VRS automatically prompts us, telling us that the target lap, which is automatically selected, is with a much warmer track temperature than our attempt, and so any opportunities are not really valid, and in fact we are completely faster in every single sector, every single corner, so there are no opportunities to display. Now obviously we do want to see the difference, so we'll scroll down and we'll hover over this button here, compare against the target lap time, and of course the sectors at the top of the screen are all red, indicating that our lap, most recent lap, is faster in every single corner than the target lap. Now let's have a look at the first corner and try and understand the differences. Now obviously it felt like I was braking a little bit later, but really that's not where the time gains have come from. I'm carrying a little bit more speed out onto the start-finish straight, but it's only really after the corner that I really start to gain time over the original data pack in the warmer track temperatures. Now the video that you can see is of the original data pack lap, so it's obviously the partly cloudy skies, and you're able to see the sunlight conditions. And so I'm braking in a very similar manner in the overcast conditions, a tiny bit later, really not anything significant. The biggest difference is I come off the brake a lot sooner and I carry a lot more speed into the apex. So if I just pause it here, this is basically the apex for both laps. I'm 10 kilometers an hour up in speed, and I'm also trying to get on the throttle a little bit earlier, but really it's not a huge difference. It's all coming down to that entry speed that I've carried, and I've just maintained that through the exit. You can see in the data pack lap that I carried a bit too much speed. I was a little bit too early on the throttle. I had to hesitate, but I still ran slightly wide, so I did actually lose half a tenth there, whereas this bar here, the position delta, is showing how I'm able to keep a much better line through the exit with grip in reserve. We'll have a look at Maggots and Beckett's, and again braking is very similar. It's just a matter of coming off the brakes a little bit sooner. That's really all it is, and carrying more speed. This is very similar, no real difference. This is where the differences begin to arise. I've carried a lot more speed here. I'm not braking as much. I've used a little bit more throttle prior as well, and I'm carrying 11 kilometers an hour more speed through here. Now I did say as I was driving the lap that I turned in a bit too late here, and you can see I start to run wide, so I was just off the apex here, so that wasn't actually ideal, and relative to the previous corner I'm not quite as benefiting in terms of how much speed I'm able to carry onto the start-finish straight, but that extra grip is allowing me to carry more speed regardless. We'll have a look at one more corner. This is of course into Stowe. Now I did actually brake too early, even earlier than in my data pack lap, despite the extra grip of the cooler track temperatures. But you can see how I'm responding to the fact that the car is slowing down so quickly. I'm coming off the brakes a lot sooner. I release the car into the apex with more speed. My apex is 7 kilometers an hour faster, and really that's the only real difference. Throttle application is very similar. I do commit to full throttle just a tiny bit sooner, but there's really not much difference apart from mid-corner and entry speed, which I've carried out through to the exit. Again, setup changes aren't really something that I would have considered. The car felt good. I still think there's extra time in the car, probably another half a second with a very good lap. And you can really see how track temperature alone has completely transformed the grip that I have available to me in the order of over 3 seconds.